Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am BorderWise and welcome back to From the Depths, where this video exists for two main reasons. Firstly, I was curious about, well, the thing the video is about, and secondly, I am resolving, this is a New Year's resolution of sorts, to do more advanced cannon related stuff, because I do love cram cannons, but I feel, especially for the last half of last year, my goodness, 2022 was last year, I've been a little bit going too hard on the cram cannons and stuff like that. So let's mix things up a bit. More advanced cannons, for one. I'm going to try and make that my default if I don't have anything else to do APS. And the thing I was curious about is, like, which actually works better? Having multiple shells which are more specialized, or a single kind of all-in-one everything shell. So, I personally, in the past, have been more biased towards the latter, so hybrid shells. But party mixing, which is the kind of unofficial term for having a turret flinging multiple kinds of shell all at once, works very well. They both work kind of well, and I kind of want to see which one works better. So, in a kind of scientific experiment, we're going to have two different ships with different ammo types. Test that out. So, on our left is the hybrid shell craft, and on our right is the party mix craft. There is literally no real physical difference between these two, apart from the camo scheme they're with, and that's just so we can tell them apart, and the ammo they're loaded with. So to start off with, let's look at the hybrid shell. So, both of these craft, and I'm also trying to get away from the whole canoe monitor thing, just for a little bit. Also, redundancy is nice. Both of these craft exactly the same layout. They have two APS turrets with three 293mm guns each. Each shell is 3 meters long, and the hybrid shell looks like this. So I was basically working off how much space I had to do with. So we've got 5 gunpowder casings, an emergency ejection defuse, HE, frag, shape charge, and armor-piercing head. So we've got this kind of hybrid armor-piercing, high-explosive frag heat shell, which is pretty strong, actually, in the little tests I've done. I haven't tested against anything ridiculously strong, but it does do the trick. So, and over here we have 3 different shells. I'm going to hop on to build mode for this. The first one is just APHE, so that's this one right here. It's armor piercing, HE, warheads 2, emergency ejection defuse, and you'll notice, this is important, it's got 1 extra gunpowder casing, because that's just what I want to fit in. I wanted at least 2 warheads, armor piercing head, emergency ejection defuse, because that is one of the advantages of a specialized shell. You do have, I guess, you can have a faster shell that still has enough of a certain kind of oomph. This might mess with our results. I might have to do this again at some point, but just, you know, keeping the shells the same speed. But it's a little bit too late for now. Now the camera's rolling and I want to see stuff blow up. So, that's that one. Then we have an AP heat shell, which is pretty much the same thing, except one of the HE warheads is swapped out for a secondary heat warhead. And then we have AP frag. Again, it's nice and simple. It's just 2 frag warheads instead of 2 HE warheads, and 60 degrees of fragment cone angle. So, like, all of these things are semi-penetrators. There's no penetration depth use, which means they're gonna overpen a lot, but none of them have super high kinetic damage, so that shouldn't be a tremendous issue. So let's have a look at the kinetic damage right here. Make sure we're looking at the right gauge. Kinetic damage is about 5,000, and the armor pierce is just over 20. So 1 shell will do about 2,500 damage to a single metal beam, which means it'll go through about, and this is very rough math, 1.5 metal beams before it explodes. So that's decent, not amazing. So, as for the rest of this craft, it's not going to win any prizes for wonderful craft design. It's got the kind of El Cheapo, kind of more focusing on kinetic proofing, wood metal checkerboard, which I'm so fond of using, and some people keep poo-pooing, but it seems to work actually quite well. Simply because it's just mixing metal in with cheap hit points and taking full advantage of armor stacking. And then we've got a 2-meter alloy deck. This thing actually, you'll notice that these ships sit quite low in the water, so a lot of shots are going to whip over the top of them. And that is okay. And then we've got this beam slope inner layer backed by beams. And that's all well and good. The AI compartment, for once in my life, these ships are actually quite compartmentalized for once. I'm trying to work on that more. Full heavy armor shell around the AI and the engines, because, like, I keep forgetting to armor the engines properly, which is bad. Like, the AI is probably the most important thing to defend on a ship, and secondly is the engines, and I guess the weapons as well. Because if you lose your engines, you can't move, and you can't do a whole bunch of important stuff. And as for the turrets, I will show you what they look like anon. They're pretty much exactly the same, like I said. They are just kind of like... how big are these things? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They are 11 by 11. Round, by the way, which is just because I like making them round. You don't have to make them round. Making use of 3-connection Tetris for the most part, because 3-connection Tetris is nice and convenient, and also it's easy to get a triple barrel with that. So the firing rate is different for like the gun in the middle and the ones on either sides. I am fine with that. You might not be fine with that. It's all okay. So, enough waffling. These ships, by the way, they've got wave breakers on the back and front simply because I felt like it. And I should mention they use breadboard to control the propellers, to control yaw and pitch. And they've got little roll control rudders right here. And a superstructure which is winning absolutely no beauty contests whatsoever. So with that out of the way, introducing you to the ships, or rather ship, and then a variant of the ship with different ammo, let's hop into the custom battle simulator and have them fight and see what happens. Alrighty, so here we are. We've got our party mix on the left, and we've got our hybrid shell on the right. They are 1,500 meters apart, facing each other, and we're gonna see which one kills the other first. And also, this will be a lovely chance to see if I've armored the turrets right, because if I haven't, this is gonna be over quite quickly. Thank goodness for emergency ejection defuses. Here we go. So immediately, we've got the hybrid shell opening fire first. Party mix is a little bit slow to open fire, but there we go, not much damage happening. They're scratching each other bit by bit. Let's see what's happening here. These guns are not incredibly powerful, but let's see here. Looks like the party mix is slightly in the lead. And it looks like, yeah, what's happening here? Let's dive right in and see what the heat is doing. The heat isn't actually doing that much. It might not actually have sufficient penetration in order to get through all the way. But yeah, it's biting about, as I suspected, it's biting about 1.5 meters, 2 meters each time. Let's go see here. Dedicated shells, what's happening? This actually... interesting. Both of them are holding up quite well in the first 30 seconds of the fight. Looks like hybrid shell is losing... hang on, that's hybrid shell, that's party mix. Hybrid shell is losing health faster. And I think it's because there's more dedicated damage for party mixing, and higher shell velocity means better kinetic damage. And I think the kinetic damage is what's gonna really make a difference here. And party mix, okay, yep. Really should have painted these completely different colors, because this might be difficult. Both of them are holding up pretty well. Let's see here, let's go back over here. So, hybrid shell, how you doing? Hybrid shell is holding up decently, but is losing blocks rapidly. See here, like once this is exposed, we're gonna have problems here, and it looks like this central space in here is actually gonna be kind of helpful for both of these guys to stay alive, because the outer armor is not going to be enough all on its own. This is very evenly matched, which makes sense because this is the identical craft. This is, you know, the same craft fighting itself, just with different ammo. And it looks like Hybrid Shell is actually really starting to fall behind in terms of hit points. Yep. Yeah, firing below the waterline is probably not a good move. Although, oh, hello. It looks like, yeah, Party Mix has lost one gun. That's one gun crippled. I wonder how that happened. Let's see here. What happened in here? Maybe something happened with the neck. Let's go right in here. Yes, something happened there. So, I have been told, relatively... Oh, actually, it's lost 2 barrels. Interesting. It's going to start making up the difference very quickly. Let's see how you doing. This is partially luck as well. Looks like... Yeah, Hybrid Shell is going to make up that difference, I think, kind of quickly, because losing 2 barrels out of 9 is actually kind of significant. Okay, then. So, I have been told that heat can kind of jump between the main body of craft and sub-objects if they're too flush together, so it does actually help to have spaced armor either around or inside your turret necks. Otherwise, you're going to have issues. And just so we're all clear, I should have said this earlier, this is best of 3, and it looks like, yeah, Hybrid Shells jumped in the lead. Best of 3, and I'm going to give it about 10 minutes for each round, otherwise we're going to be here all day. This is what happens when you, oh hello, when you have mirror matches. They do take a while. Unless something gets lucky. Wow, I think this armor scheme is speaking for itself a little bit. These... I know I said these shells aren't particularly powerful. They're still, you know, for a craft of this size, they get in there. They get in there and they make a mess. So, yeah, that's mostly just armor that's mostly pretty cheap and expendable. And the other reason, by the way, that I'm like this armor scheme and continue to... Oh, hello. Damn, Hybrid Shell still has pretty much all its guns firing, which is impressive. The other reason I like using it is because it essentially means that your craft is guaranteed to float, and as it loses armor blocks, it gets more buoyant, not less, which means it's less likely to just sink. And that beam slope, oh, all the people who told me about that, I could kiss you, because it really does work very well. Also, breadboard being used to control yaw and pitch. Very, very handy, because it means that even if all the rudders get blown off, the thing can still steer. This is interesting. It looks like Party Mix is not going to win this one. It's starting to list a little bit. Yeah, it's only got 3 guns left. Oh, no, they don't have 9 guns. I just realized I did my math badly. How are you doing? Oh, you're down to 4. You're down to 4. And this is actually kind of why it's, I do say, like, I roast shield projectors a lot. I don't like using them, but for guarding the front of your turrets, it is a good idea. And when you're, like, chucking APS around a lot, like, it is kind of worth it just to stick, even if it's like a weak shield just in front of your turret, it makes a difference. Just don't rely on them. They're not, you know, it shouldn't be the main reason your turrets survive. It shouldn't be what you're mainly relying on. And you are getting quite low in the water, actually. And this also why is a pretty good demonstration as to why you do kind of want multiple guns per turret. I know in the past I have said that, like, one big gun in a turret is better than a bunch of smaller ones in the same turret. That's not strictly true. That's only true if you do the math when the thing is not being shot at. When it is being shot at, you really do want to have some redundancy, because you don't want the entire turret basically rendered useless just because the firing piece got taken out. That's bad. I should also mention as well that neither of these craft have repair bots, so that is, they are, any damage they take, they are, oh hello, you've slowed right the hell down, you've gotten hit in the engines, haven't you? Oh, this is going back and forth here. Let's see here, what's happened to you? Seriously, what has happened here? Trying to figure out, like... Oh, there we go. Ah, yes, the exhaust. See, yeah, that's a heat shell that somehow snuck in the... Oh, there it is. Oh, there's another one. Zap. Moving so fast, couldn't see it. Alright, so now we've, let's see here. So, Hybrid... Really should have painted these things completely different now. So, Hybrid Shell is now in a little bit of trouble because she's immobilized, but Party Mix is in a similar predicament. Looks like, yep, Party Mix only has one gun functioning, whereas the Hybrid Shell has 4 guns functioning still. Yeah, losing guns early in the fight, that's bad. Though, if Party Mix can come around the front of Hybrid Shell, across the bow, she will be able to take one of those guns essentially out of action, assuming she doesn't sink first. And this is also why I kind of don't like relying on air pumps for floating, is, well, because this happens. Once a compartment is ruptured, the thing sinks. And it's not if your compartment will get ruptured, it is when it will get ruptured. Because this game does allow for very, very strong penetrating shots from a variety of sources. Like, you name it, it can probably get through armor pretty easily. Uh-oh. Yeah, Party Mix says, actually, yep, she's lost all her guns, she can't win. Party Mix cannot win. Hybrid Shell, even though she's immobilized, she has won. Because, Party Mix actually cannot fight back anymore. So I'm going to just sit back and relax and watch this play out, and I'll probably speed up this footage, so see you when the fight has concluded. Okay, we have just passed 10 minutes, and Party Mix is not doing very well. I think she's only a few more shots away from getting an 80% in sync despawn, but I said 10 minutes, so 10 minutes it is. Actually, is she? Nope, she isn't. She keeps bobbing out of the water like a cork. So, round 1 goes to Hybrid Shell. She got immobilized, and but more of her gun survived, so that's possibly RNG rather than the shells being better. So let's have round 2. Where are you folks? Alright, so once again, I'm really ruining my decision not to paint these things. So we got Party Mix. Whoop, let's set this up so we can whoops. Do I remember how to friggin' do this? Okay, so once again, Party Mix is on the left, Hybrid Shell's on the right. Where you go? Or was it the other way around before? Right, who's gotten the first shot off? It looks like Hybrid Shell's landing the first hit, but both of them are going at it. And health is dropping evenly. Yep, super even to begin with. That's not a lot of difference between the two shell types within the opening seconds of the fight. Looks like actually, yeah, this is really even. Let's watch the block confetti. It's mostly just beams, which means the armor's doing its job, getting in the way, and looks like once again, ooh, never mind. Once again, looks like Party Mix has lost a gun early. I think this is really RNG talking. Like these ships are so similar that, yeah, it's like, doesn't make a huge difference. Actually, I think the slower shells might be what's giving the Hybrid Shells an advantage, because it means that they're less likely to just ping off the surface of the water. They're less likely to skip over. I haven't been watching for that. Maybe I should watch for that. Saying that, okay, never mind. Party Mix is still got a very slight health lead, which keeps like flipping back and forth. Very easy to Very easy to lose that. I also do admit that the turrets really need better heat proofing on them. Like, I could have stuck some spaced armor within, at the very least, the front of the turret, just to be sure that they could do it. Also, I don't think that this kind of primitive wave breaker thing is worth it. Like, you need a plan if you're gonna just use extra blocks like that. But I didn't want to do yet another canoe, not this once. Canoe therapy happens when you really need it, and looks like Party Mix is losing again. Like, if like twice in a row might be more than just coincidence, and it might either be because these hybrid shells, it just means that like wherever they land, they're likely to do something you want them to do, like combining all those damage types. Whereas if the shell is specialized, there's, I don't know, if HE damage lands in the wrong spot, it does basically nothing. If frag lands in the wrong spot, especially if it's 60 degrees, it does nothing, and if heat lands in the wrong spot, it does basically nothing. But if they're all together, they're like, they're kind of its best of all worlds, I guess? But yeah, I'm not sure. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. That is the call to action for this video, and there will be no more of that, except when I tell you to like, comment, and subscribe, but you already knew that, and you've already all done that, I really hope. Let's plug myself some more. Whoopsie daisy, looks like Party Mix has lost some shells. I think that is just the muzzle velocity difference. Really should have thought of that. It means that the shells are more likely to arc down just a little bit, which means they're more likely to hit the turrets in the face. Yeah, it looks like... Yeah, it looks like... Interesting thing here, and like, they're right there. Where did that land? I think it... Oh yeah, zapped it in the superstructure, I think. Or not. Or here, or something. That's an example of a mostly pure heat shell not really doing much, because all those fragments could have done something. But yeah, so I think because those shells are faster, they're coming flatter, which means they're more likely to hit these turrets at the end of the barrel, rather than arcing over them slightly and like getting the firing piece, which I think is what's happening here. Let's see if that theory is correct. Yeah, these barrels aren't nearly as snubbed, but you do get shots. Yeah, you get shots actually dropping underneath them and severing the gauge snake just there. So there's a point, is that sometimes slower shells are advantageous. Not always, and generally you're better with faster shells, but I think in this specific instance, against something that's like so low in the water, just something that arcs a little bit, it might actually be kind of useful. I mean, supercavitation shells would be better than anything else in this situation, but we're not using that today. We're restraining a little bit. We're being restrained. And jeez, this is a very even fight. I think this is more even than the last round. Man, why? I should have made these guns a lot bigger, actually. You know, go big or go home. Make the people happy. See what we got there. Very holy armor. This armor could be Pope, it's so holy. Except if you look up the history of the Catholic Church, like a lot of the popes have been very not holy at all. Had no holes in them whatsoever. That was a terrible joke and I regret it, and oh yeah, Party Mix is suffering. Party Mix is suffering quite a bit. I have multiple regrets, but also I regret nothing. Damn. Jeez, okay, those shells are actually kind of strong. Once they start biting in there, they're strong. They are less strong. They are taking multiple beams off easy. Admittedly, some of those beams are wood. Actually, yeah, this is an interesting point that has been raised, is that once the armor is like got big holes in it, let's just hold it in there. Like, explosive damage tends to take out the wood beams first, which means these metal beams are kind of left orphaned, so to speak. They've got no backing whatsoever. So yeah, that is a point against checkerboard armor right there, but it's doing its job still. It's holding up pretty well, and is a lot cheaper and lighter and more buoyant than if the whole thing was metal, so it's like, it's not a huge problem. It is a problem, but not a huge one. Like, remember, and I keep saying this, and I keep failing to live up to my own expectations, that armor is your last line of defense. It should not be your first one. You really should have active defense. If these were finished craft, they would almost certainly, like, have at the very least, like, little shield projectors or something, just on the turrets, just also angled down to protect the hull a little bit. Maybe ring shields. I need to play with ring shields more. There's actually a very simple way of arranging them so they don't blow up your everything when they get hit. But you need to think ahead in order to do that, and I'm not good at that. That's actually another experiment I should do, is ring shields versus shield projectors, which survives better, which I think would basically be just these two craft again, because, or this craft again, because it's such a neat little test thing. And, yeah, just stick shield projectors on one, stick ring shields on the other, and see who loses worse. Question is, which ammo type should I use? Actually, that's a silly question. The ammo type should be, what's it? The ammo type should be whatever wins here, which looks to be the hybrid shell, because it's taken out all but one of the guns on the party mix. And DPS is king in this game, so yep. Wow, she's got all her guns still firing. This thing isn't modeled on the Graf Spey, but it might as well be. How did you lose a gauge? But hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Did you get hit in the... Okay, yeah, that's probably how you lost a gauge. Yeah, so this is why I think that, yeah, having internal turret armor is still kind of a good idea. Some people have poo-pooed the idea, and that's fine. Opinions are good. I still like doing it, but also because, if nothing else, because it means that even if your turret's got it, it doesn't fall off, and it still contributes towards your hit points, which means you're less likely to get, you know, despawned for arbitrary reasons. Also, I just want to shout myself out, is that having redundant detection is an incredibly good idea. Like, there's two little masts on this. One of them's filled with... It's got a 360 camera, and the other's got a radar. And as you'll see here, the radar has... I was about to say it survived. I guess it still has survived. And the camera has not. It means it can still see at the very least. It's a good idea to spread out your detection. And, well, oh, that was right in the AI compartment. That's bad for you. Wow, looks like Party Mix is actually... Did I just put crap shells on the Party Mix without even really realizing it? That's always a distinct possibility. Hybrid Shell is not only, like, got a health lead, but she's still moving full steam. That is impressive. Actually, Party Mix is losing even harder this time, because it looks like... Yeah, she's not firing back anymore. She is not firing back at all. Yeah, that is block confetti, man. There's a lot of beautiful confetti. If nothing else, it is good that this ship is still moving when it's looking kind of like this. Also, I should remember that there is options in the broadside settings to make the ship turn around when it's more damaged on one side than the other. And, yeah, I should make use of that option, because all this armor on the other side is kind of useless at the moment, which is not good. I should remember that's an option. In fact, I should make that my default. But I never do, because I'm silly like that, I guess. In fact, I should just make my default AI have the behavior I most often use, which is Broadside 2.0. Okay, let's see. Hybrid Shell, you have less than 1 minute to actually finish off Party Mix over here, and if you do not do that, Daddy's going to be very disappointed in you. Yes, I just called myself Daddy. What about it? What you gonna do about it? Nothing? That's what I thought. Oh, you are actually gonna do something about it? Okay, I'll stop. What was all that? Oh dear. Oh dear, delicious, ouch. I guess effectively the Hybrid Shell has essentially more firepower per shell, which is why it's doing okay. I guess the extra shell speed doesn't really help in this specific instance. Alright, so like, the hybrid shell's won. Like, it's won, like, both rounds here. So that is, this is not going to be a round 3, so I think we can just let the party mix die, and I'll be very interested to see actually how long it takes her to die. So footage is going to be sped up now, and I'll see you when we actually get a despawn going. Oh, I think we're finally getting a despawn. Never mind. Okay, so this is taking quite a long time. Oh, we might get it. We might get it. So, in case anyone's wondering, this is actually a sign that this particular kind of ship is not actually designed very well because it lost its weapons too early. It lost weapon functionality. Which means A, it doesn't have enough weapons, obviously, and B, those weapons are not protected properly, because there's no point having a really tough hull if the thing gets, if the thing, you know, for the vast majority of the time it spends alive, which is, so far you can tell, almost 20 minutes, if it isn't fighting for all that time. So, lesson, I guess reminder for me, lesson to, I guess anybody who didn't know that already, yeah, you'd really gotta focus on protecting your weapons. I know I said earlier you gotta protect your AI, that's #1 priority, and I guess it is. So AI and weapons, followed by engine, and then ammo compartments and other stuff like that. And yeah, because this has taken a long time. But the Alloy is amazing at keeping things afloat, even when they should be dead. So I'm gonna call it there, because I've got a lot of editing to do as it happens, so I can't sit here all day. So Hybrid Shells wins. I was actually surprised by that. I have been told in the past that it is better to have a mixture of more specialized shells rather than just spamming one kind of general purpose shell. Like, for those of you who've watched the channel for a while, I am the proud owner and inventor, I guess, of the Generalizer, which is basically every chemical warhead in one shell. And people laugh at me, and I laugh at myself for that, but it turns out that, like, having a combination shell like that might actually be kind of a good idea, because, like, especially in this second round, the hybrid shell just really kind of made a difference. Which, again, that could be just because the shell's slower and it's more likely to get the firing pieces. Let me know what you think. So, that'll do for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and if you didn't learn something, I hope you just enjoyed. And thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon or YouTube membership if you like. It really helps, and there's fun perks in it for you. Thank you to all my current supporters, and I will see you next time in From the Depths. Farewell.